Welcome back to the Bricks. We are back with some more sports action for you. Justin, it's been a busy week as far as college football is concerned. We'll start right there with your Irish, who are going to, for the first time ever, play, theoretically, we'll say that, in a conference this year in the ACC. They are part of the 10-game conference schedule plus one non-con that the ACC agreed to. And they even agreed to divide their TV contract with NBC by the ACC teams and share that with everybody. So first of all, let's start there. What is your take on Notre Dame playing in the ACC this season?
My take with Notre Dame is that I've always said this, and I will continue to say it. They would join a conference when they had to, and they had to. And so it makes sense. They were in the ACC and every other sport but football, so it just makes it easier and more natural to just go there for this season. And I'll say this moving forward, if they don't have to, they won't stay. And so if the ACC were to make something where they had to stay, then they will. But as I've always said, if when they had to, they will, and they did. And so I think it's fair that they're splitting their NBC money. I mean, I don't like the comments made by Duke's coach about, we'll take them if they split their money. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're just mad that you can't go sign a contract like that to give you money. Like, that's what it comes down to. Everybody's mad that they can't get a contract like that and they're not Notre Dame. And so if they want to make those comments, whatever. But I like it for the Irish, and I like it that we get a little bit of a conference schedule feel that I normally don't get. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of want to circle back there. Do you think there's any chance for the ACC to lock down Notre Dame even for a couple years? I mean, and the reason I ask that is here's the question, right? Notre Dame has basically had to go undefeated to get to the college football playoff. Maybe this year we see an instance we might have, if we have a season, and definitely still think that's for sure up in the air here. But if we have a season, teams in the ACC may play a different amount of games than teams in the Big 12. Then in the SEC, a singular team may play less games because of team spread of COVID-19. So this might be the year one that you see a two-loss playoff team. I think you're definitely going to see that if we have a playoff. But number two, this might be the year that Notre Dame can lose one, Clemson, for example, and then go beat Clemson and Charlotte, and you're in the playoff, right? So do you think that with it, maybe with a new path to the college football playoff, Notre Dame may at least consider trying to move to the ACC full time?
I mean, it definitely makes their road easier. And I think anybody would say they want an easier road to the playoff. Just ask the Big 12. Just ask Oklahoma, right? Everybody wants an easy road. And so I definitely think that's something they're going to look into. But again, until Notre Dame is forced to do it, why would they? Why would they not? The money that schools get from conferences, Notre Dame's getting that from NBC. And so it's not like they need the money. So until they're continually forced to, why would they? And so, of course, as a fan, I would love it because I would love to see them, win conference titles and be in a race and all that kind of stuff and have an easier path to get to the playoff and not have to go undefeated. But I until they're forced to, I don't think they will. And I can't blame them either.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing to kind of wrap up there that could be different for the Irish is if they struggle this year. They should have a very good football team. They should be a top 10 team. They come out of this and they lose 3 games, maybe even 2 games. We might actually have a legitimate argument that Notre Dame just isn't used to playing in a conference schedule. I mean, you think about even what comes with playing the same kind of teams every year, similar scouting reports, similar personnel, the coaches, the strategies, X's and O's. And you're big into that, Justin, so you know those things even in high school football. So they do make a big difference when you go from playing essentially a new schedule every year to playing the same kind of teams every year. So that definitely will set up differently for the Irish. And I want to kind of look real quick at their schedule here. So I'm going to look over here at my notes. But they've got Clemson at home, Duke at home, Florida State at home, Louisville at home, Syracuse at home. They go to Boston College, to Clemson, to Boston College, to Georgia Tech, to North Carolina, to Pittsburgh, to Wake Forest. It is hands down the hardest schedule on this graphic that the ACC tweeted out. It's not even close, and it's definitely like I'm going to shake with my one hand but also smack you in the back on the other here. You're welcome, Irish. You can split your money with us, but you're going to have the hardest road here. And I think that's got to help the Irish when it comes to strength of schedule. But I think shout out to the ACC commissioner for making sure that they had a tough road to get there. I would be shocked if they finish this season undefeated. I mean, you got Clemson I think Clemson, Florida State, Louisville are all tough games. At least those are in South Bend. But I mean, even at Carolina, Carolina's supposed to be up this year. I think they're overhyped. That's a conversation for another day. They're still a couple years away. But the Irish are going to have a tough road no matter way you cut it. So that leads me to my final question when it comes to college football, Justin. We've seen the SEC, the Pac-12, the ACC, the Big Ten all come out with their different plans. The Big 12 still trying to pretend like they can play 12 games. But all these conferences are trying to be realistic here. Do you think when we have a taste of a full conference slate that we're going to want anything else after this?
No. Why would we? Why would we want, Alabama going to play Chattanooga, like teams like that? But here's something else too. Like teams are going to figure out this is hard. Like you're not going to want to play 10, 11 conference games because, I mean, they're in your conference and all these teams are, high level D1 for a reason. Like even your bad teams are normally pretty good football teams. And so as fans, we'll love it because we're going to get to see competitive games every week, but coaches and athletic directors and players are not going to be the biggest fans of it just because they're going to have to show up and play every week. And going back to what you said about Notre Dame's schedule, I expected nothing different. With them coming in, being the newbie, they were going to get the hardest schedule. And, I will say this, I'll come out and say this. If they do go undefeated, even if they lose one, it could be the best season Notre Dame's ever had, and that's high regards just because of the competition that they're going to have to play week in and week out. But no, we're not going to want to go back to see normal schedules. We're going to want to see these conference schedules. But like I said, until they're forced to do it, it's not going to happen because teams, coaches, athletic directors don't want to see this and don't want the wear and tear every week of having to prepare for another high level football team.
Absolutely. I think all of that to say it's going to be a weird football season if we have one. It'll be unique, and I think it will be really enjoyable. Heck, we might even see several backups and third-string quarterbacks by week 3 or 4 with the spread, but it'll be interesting. Hopefully they do better than the MLB has, Justin. And switching gears to the MLB, we've got all kinds of things going on, but let's start with our beloved Redlegs. We're off to a crazy 2-5 start. We talked about this a few weeks ago on the pod. This is exactly what we thought was going to happen, at least in my opinion. All the talent in the world, all the hype in the world, hashtag take the Central in the offseason, and we are who we thought we were, Justin.
Yeah, I tweeted that out last night. Denny Green saying we are who we thought we were. What's new with the Redlegs? They've been tweeting out hashtag take the Central. I've been tweeting out hashtag win one game in the Central. I've been kind of crabby towards the Reds on Twitter, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating. We still have the best starting pitching in the National League, and we can't get it done. Like it's ridiculous. Our bullpen is trash. Our lineup, no matter what we say, isn't hitting worth a darn, and so none of it matters. And you know what? All we can hope for at this point, as a Reds fan, is that the year gets canceled because I don't want this thing to keep going because who knows how bad it's going to get, And the MLB is leaning towards canceling. Nick, I don't know if you've heard, but like it's bad. Manfred's threatening it. It's ugly between the MLBPA and him. Things are going crazy. So, are they even going to make it to Monday at this point? Nick, is the MLB even going to make it to Monday?
Well, I mean, the recent reports to go along with that, Justin, are for the TV networks to have other stuff prepared to go next week in case there are no baseball games. I think the plug's going to be pulled, maybe not Monday, but at least next week. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit off air, but I think Rob Manfred, this is what he wanted. I think he wanted to show the players that after all the discussions they had and the long holdout on what they were going to do contract-wise for the season, that he still knows best and he knows what he's talking about. And it's going to happen because he's got the Miami Marlins and he's got the St. Louis Cardinals now, as we're starting to hear more about how many players have it even today as we record. He's got two teams that he can say, hey, this is team spread. A great percentage of them have it, and we're going to have to do something about it. We can't just cancel games. But why not, Justin? If we're going to play 60, let's be honest here. I like even going back to what the ACC is doing. They decided they're going to do win percentage, decides who goes to the title game for their conference. That's what the MLB is going to have to do if they want to survive. That's what the NFL is going to have to do if they want to survive. You're going to just have to go with whatever happens on the field and then just come up with a formula to create playoffs. It's really that simple. I don't think Rob Manfred wants to work that hard. I think the players are willing to work that hard, but until the players, one, actually operate as if they're in a bubble, and two, until Rob Manfred actually gives 100%, I think the MLB probably stops. If not this weekend, next week.
Yeah, he's the worst commissioner in the history of sports. I'm just going to say it. He's trash, hot trash.
That is quite some words. Well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our golfing expedition together last weekend in match play. And speaking of golf, Justin, you know I have to talk about it. Precision Pro Golf, our guys in Cincinnati, sent us over a rangefinder, the NX7 Pro. They just dropped their new NX9 this week, both in slope and non-slope versions. And Justin, we're going to talk about it in just a minute, but we gamed it last week, put it into match play, won 2 matches with it, really helped us out, really kind of took out the guesswork. So if you need a rangefinder to take your golf game to the next level, make sure you visit precisionprogolf.com and use code BRICKS20. That's BRICKS20 to get $20 off any rangefinder. So Justin, last week you made your debut on the bag as a caddy. For me, it was quite an experience, something we've talked about for a long time. Playing in the local golf tournament at the golf course that I work at during the summer. We had our first match on Friday morning at the butt crack of dawn, 7 a.m. We came out, we scrapped a little bit. We hit a bunch of fairways and we did it. And then we decided to turn around on Sunday, play the 4 seed, and we beat him. We beat him in 21 holes. But first of all, I'm interested to hear your perspective on what happened. But I think there's just all kinds of things we could break down here.
There is. We get off to slow starts. That's who we are. We like being the underdog a little bit in seed and on the course. So, it's good though. We hit, in match play, if you hit a couple good shots on each hole, you're going to be in good shape, and that's all you got to do. And if you putt really well, which we did on Sunday, it's gonna put you in contention in a lot of places. So, it was fun. I like walking the course. I like taking our time, calming down a little bit. It helps you keep your head. So. It was fun. It was good stuff. Played really well Sunday. Played well enough Friday. I think we can both agree to that. But played really well on Sunday, and so it was good stuff. It was fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're big Jordan Spieth guys. We've talked about that before, and we love his caddy Michael Greller, the former math teacher. So we did our little impression there. Justin was rocking the bucket hat on Sunday. We came out ready to roll. Got 2 holes down. Really tried to build ourselves a hole, but got right back out of it. Ended up being 2 holes up at one point on the back 9 before deciding to put a ball in the water on 18 there, Justin, with the good old 6-iron. But you know what? We fought, and we played the first hole 3 times in playoff action, and then finally hit a 3-wood off the tee to about a foot off the green, made birdie, and got out of there with the dub. But I think the moral of the story is when you have your best friend on the bag, he's keeping you psychologically steady. He helps you make good decisions and helps you laugh. And it's always good to laugh on the golf course. And can't wait to talk some more golf coming up in the future. A little hint there for you, but that's coming at you. But Justin, fantastic job on the bag, and we'll transition right there. My GOAT of the week, Justin's got to be you on the bag, man. I mean, it was one thing. Friday was one thing. I think you walked about 10,000 steps on Friday, but then Sunday you came out with the bucket hat. It was much hotter. It was in the middle of the afternoon. You walked 8 or 9 miles. You were laboring, my brother, and you are my GOAT of the week.
Hey, 21 holes. We got to the 21st hole. You're asking me for the 3-wood. I said, at this point, pull it out of the bag because I don't want to walk 22. So, and then you did the work from there. So, caddy's only as good as the player he's with. If you played bad, then I was a bad caddy. So, you helped me look good. So that helps. I appreciate you asking me. It was a lot of fun. So,
absolutely, and we're looking to put it back into play here in the next few weeks with the old Elite Eight matchup. Who's your GOAT of the week, Justin?
My GOAT of the week has got to be Joe Kelly. And look, it's not for throwing at somebody's head or any of that stuff. That stuff is not – I don't condone any of that. That's not good stuff. Don't do it. No matter if they're cheaters or not, doesn't matter. But for me, it's for his meme. Just for the frowny face and the crybaby look, it's classic. And I will use that for however long it is available, and I will overuse it probably. And, I'll tick some people off using it because, it's kind of annoying him making a frowny face, but it's gold. It's classic. And that's who he is, right? He's hot off the handle. That's who he is, but that was pure gold. But again, I don't condone any of the throwing at the head, none of that. Even if the Astros are big-time cheaters in the MLB, let one drop and didn't take their title away, but that I'll let that case rest. But just for the frowny face and for the meme that I'm going to be able to use for the rest of all time. So that was good. Nick, what's your roast of the week?
I mean, we already talked about it, but Rob Manfred, the MLB commissioner, he's going to pull the plug in the next few days. I don't really think he's given it everything he's got. They haven't done their best to create a bubble. They're moving too much. We talked about that in the last episode. It just wasn't set up to succeed. And maybe it's good for our Red Legs who have started absolutely horrendously. But the MLB is gonna be stopped here, if paused, if not ended here in the next week. And you know what? It's Rob Manfred's fault. What about you, Justin?
It is. Roast of the week here, going back to my guy LeBron, and my roast is not LeBron. My roast is the people hating on LeBron. The fact that he's in year 17 and the fact that his game has evolved so much, he doesn't have to score 30 or 40 every game for this Laker team to win. But what he does have to do is play point guard. And if you realize anything about basketball, the point guard isn't supposed to drop 30 or 40. They're supposed to facilitate. They're supposed to push your speed the way you want to play the game. And when I watch LeBron, that's what he's doing. And so he's not asked to be the guy right now. The guy is Anthony Davis. Dude's a stud, right? But LeBron has the bigger role in making sure the offense flows through him, and he's doing that. And so LeBron's game has morphed into being a really good facilitator of the basketball, a really good pace setter, a really good just – you guys are going to laugh at me – a really good teammate on the offensive end of the floor, and that's what he's doing. And so you can get off his back about not scoring 30 or 40 a game. You can get off his back about not even scoring 20. What you have to look at is his plus minus, his assists, and everything else that he's doing on the floor. And the fact that in the final 5 possessions, really in the fourth quarter, he said, get on my back on the defensive end of the floor. And he took Kawhi on and he took Paul George on. And so that's what you got to look at. In year 17, he's still able to do that. His beard's gray, his hair's gray. He got it colored, dyed, or trimmed, whatever he did to make him look younger after his quarantine self. But you have to look at everything else LeBron's doing, not just his scoring. So get off his back, people. You're my roast of the week. Let the man play. The man, even if you don't think he's the GOAT, he's a top 5 player of all time. And he has morphed his game into being what this Lakers team needs. So get off his back.
I think we got to throw an additional roast in there, Justin. We talked about this with the PGA, I believe. But the NBA has been doing the same thing with TV coverage. Like, what are we doing here? One, if you pay for TV coverage, and I'm going to let you go off here in a minute, Justin. But one, if you pay for TV coverage, you should have it. But two, why are we not showing the entirety of a PGA round, the entirety of any NBA game, the entirety of every MLS game? Why are we not showing every bit of sports? We've waited 4 months without it. We probably won't have it for much longer because of commissioners like Rob Manfred. Why can we not see the sports that are going on, Justin?
Well, I made a joke the other night. I shouldn't have done this. I made a joke to my wife. We're watching the Lakers game, and they keep showing League Pass as a commercial. And I'm like, why are they showing that? Everybody's going to be able to watch every game. Well, little did I know that as I'm trying to watch the games on Friday, I can't watch anything. I have to watch the Orlando-Brooklyn game, which I had to fight to find that. It's on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm like, what in the world? And then I go to watch the Portland-Memphis game, which was a great game. I can't find that either because it's blacked out on NBA TV. Why am I paying for NBA TV? Why am I paying for a sports package if I can't watch the games that you're putting on? So I agree. Go March Madness style. Put it on NBA TV. Put it on what is ESPN showing right now? Nothing, right? Nothing. What's Fox Sports 1 showing right now? Nothing. Put the sports on there. Let them be shown. Let people watch it, especially if they're paying for it, because really it ticks me off. So that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Go off there, Justin. Do you have let's kind of mellow it out here as we finish up. Do you have a challenge for us this week, Justin?
We do. This is big for me too, but just, unplug from social media a little bit. There's so much stuff going on. I like Twitter because I get to only watch sports stuff, and that's who I follow is sports stuff. And so when sports are big, I get on Twitter. I've recently deleted Facebook because it was making me upset. Just all that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself being mad, if you find yourself, if your phone comes up in your weekly report that it gives you and it's way higher than what you thought, get off social media for a couple of days, unplug, hang out with the people around you. Just don't be upset about people who post things. We all have different views. We all are afforded those different views. We all can have them because of the country we live in, all those things. But if somebody doesn't see eye to eye with you, getting mad at them isn't going to do anything. And so social media has offered that as a way negatively to do that. And so if you find yourself getting mad, just log off social media for a couple of days, let yourself breathe, and all those things. Nick, you got anything to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm trying to do a little bit more of that this week. I've struggled with it. I struggle with feeling out of the know, but it really, when it comes down to it, I'm not missing anything super important. And honestly, I don't need any more critical thinking or critical words. I've got enough of that going on in my own head. And so I think it's super important. Like you said, Facebook's a thing for me that I'm trying to get rid of as well. I've been trying to limit even, Twitter, right? See what sports I see and how often I check it and things like that. But it's definitely great to make sure that you're using your time wisely. And I think this season has showed how poorly I use my time in some areas. So I definitely am looking to get that figured out. But heading towards next week, Justin, we've got the PGA Championship coming up. We're going to have a special episode headed your way early this week, so make sure you are tuned in for that. And Justin, did you know that there is a way to help us figure out what we should be talking about on this podcast? You know how you do that, Justin? You leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and you tell us in the comments, in the review, what you want us to talk about, what you like that we talk about, and what we have missed at this point. What sports, maybe like the NHL. I hear you hockey people that we need to talk about more. Maybe you want Justin to go off more about the NBA. You need to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We'll catch you early this week with a preview of the PGA Championship back on the bricks.